Right, ladies and gentlemen, this will be in English, but I'll say a few words in Swedish. Det här är del 2 om NGOs som jag har skrivit åt en organisation. Det är gammalt, men det är intressant. Den är som sagt på engelska. All right, guys, this is the second part about NGOs, non-governmental organizations. So here we go. The Restaurant, Bar and Entertainment Support Group, Philippines. This is to Thomas Klein, General Manager, the Fairmont Hotel, San Francisco, the United States of America, 25th of July, 2013. Dear Mr. Klein, Fairmont Hotels and International Justice Mission, we, the Restaurant, Bar and Entertainment Support Group, the president of this group unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. I worked with him for years, since 1996. He was the one who asked me to help him with it. Of the Philippines, write to you in connection with your scheduled hosting of a function for International Justice Mission, IJM, an American NGO, on 18th of October 2013. We understand that Fairmont Dallas also hosted a function for IJM on the 30th of April 2013. IJM is an American non-governmental organization, NGO, operating here in our country, the Philippines. The role is ostensibly to be supportive for the fight against human trafficking. In actuality, the modus operandi of IJM is anything but a fight against human trafficking. In this short letter, we've set out facts regarding IJM's operations in the Philippines. We believe you should be aware of these facts in relationship to what must be a very valuable customer to your hotel group. IJM routinely plant minors in the establishment in which we work. They then organize raids of our establishments on the suspicion that minors might be inside. IJM are complicit in issuing these minors with fake IDs, and the sole purpose of the process is to set up alleged crimes. IJM field agents oversee the arrest and detention of innocent Philippine citizens as the result of these late-night raids by their stormtroops on our fully licensed establishment. Once arrested, our people are then forced to sign documents against their will, and when they refuse or resist, they are deprived of food and water until they finally buckle and perjure themselves with false affidavits and statements that cannot later be recanted. IJM regularly use the inhumane and degrading process of dental age check on our fellow citizens and sanctions the posting of video recordings of the examination on YouTube and other social media sites. IJM own Philippine-based field agents refer to the above as the common practice of their rogue department. IJM pays $3 million per annum for the rental of their Washington office, $290,000 to its CEO, and $150,000 to Philippine-based field agents, 6 times more than the president of our country earns. These numbers are beyond our comprehension. But we do understand that the only way that this level of wealth can be sustained is by preying on the undereducated and creating crimes from thin air. If you care to check IJM's webpage, you will see that for a donation of $4,500 via Visa or MasterCard, the donor is guaranteed that an establishment in the Philippines will be raided. That establishment will be fully licensed by the Philippine government, but they will not fit IJM's puritanical profile. Of course, they would never sanction a raid on TGI Fridays, a Hard Rock Cafe. The money is plundered from the average American taxpayer who has no concept of misery that their well-intentioned donation will cause. I will mention a thing here, it's not in the letter, but this Gary Haugen, the president and owner of the money-making IJM, 10 years ago he was out on Twitter, and he twittered when his 14-year-old girl was working in TGI Fridays I think it was in Washington. during the weekends. But if a Filipino who's 17 months, 17 year, 11 months, and 29 days old is working in the Philippines, Gary Haugen calls that human trafficking. They talk about double standards. He's a very sick person. Okay, I'll continue the letter. It's not long, this one. The most recent example of the stormtrooper-led raids describes above rescue missions, according to IGM, occurred recently in Pampanga, north of Manila. IGM made the bizarre claim that they had rescued 80 victims from the establishment, of which 90 were minors. The facts that transpired determined that none of these rescued were minors. All of them were employees properly licensed by our government, and all of them were working of their own free will, despite the fact that IGM claimed to have rescued these victims. Many were then held in custody under the auspice of IGM against their will. Some of these rescued victims had their lives destroyed as a result of their grievance, or clearly and vividly recorded through social media and online chat rooms. These people were not victims of human trafficking. They neither needed nor wanted to be rescued. They cannot comprehend the position they now find themselves in as a result of IGM's moral crusade in our country. The point at which they became trafficked was when IGM stepped in and denied them their basic human rights. Many of these victims were only released from IGM's custody with a writ of habeas corpus. It goes without saying that these rescued victims had to engage lawyers at their own cost to extricate themselves from this position of having been rescued. A writ of habeas corpus, for you who don't know it, that's illegal detention. Those legal costs would have made a not inconsiderable dent in their monthly earnings, which are certainly not comparable to the grotesque amounts earned by the IGM field agents that compromised their liberty in the first place. The statistics, however, look good, and it's those statistics that will be used to generate funds needed to support the lifestyle of the IGM officers and employees. The action that IGM are taking in our country in the name of the fight against human trafficking are, in fact, human trafficking crimes in their own right. Like us, Mr. Klein, you work in the food and beverage entertainment industry. Have you ever seen such practices in America? Would you tolerate your own employees being treated in this barbaric and illegal manner? If one of your employees was an intern or OJT on the job training under the age of 18, would you expect to have your hotel raided by a foreign NGO? Your entire staff be herded into the back of a truck, and you and your management team be charged with qualified human trafficking, a non-bailable offense? We believe we know the answers to these questions. IGM hold fundraising events in your hotels. Now you have a clearer picture of how that money is spent. We have written to Gary Haugen, CEO and President of IGM, Leif Korlim, CNN, and Jim Clancy, CNN. None have granted us the courtesy of a reply. We have attached those earlier letters for your reference. Fairmont has just opened a brand new hotel in the business district of our capital city, Manila. Do you really want to be seen by 100 million Filipinos and our millions of friends around the world as the venue that financially enables IGM to continue the work that the likes of Hillbilly, Stalin, Mussolini were not permitted, that they were not permitted to finish? Respectfully yours. And I won't mention the name of the signatory as he's passed away. But Restaurant Bar and Entertainment Support Group, the Philippines. Yeah, it's very interesting. This group is barbaric, as they say, and they're actually even worse. I could bring up a lot of other issues about this. It's a disgrace. There's many innocent people still languishing in jail as we speak. A 20-year-old girl, her first job after school. She was a waitress in the place. She was also one of those that the IGM framed. She got 21 years in jail. Her whole life destroyed thanks to IGM. Disgusting what people do for money. I feel sick. Thanks for watching, everybody.